Oilerslive podcast. Oilerslive podcast. Oilerslive podcast. Oilerslive podcast.
Now, get ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live Studio. Subscribe or follow today.
Mic check. This thing on. Hey, it's Michael here with Oilers Live for an Oilers Live Tuesday. A little pregame action tonight. Oilers take on the San Jose Sharks. And for that, our guy, Mr. Kirk Morris, heavy hockey contributor, has agreed to come off from down on the mountaintop and join us for a little Oilers Live Tuesday. And Dash in the park, somewhat of a regular guest as of late, is here, hiding two black eyes that he sustained during a hockey fight last night in Rec League. So welcome. Welcome to the show, guys. How you doing? Welcome. How you doing, Kirk? Good. That's right. I'm just honored to have Gandalf on the show. That's all good. That's all good. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh, man, dude, I honestly am super happy you're on board. I love the articles you've put together. And for those of you that don't know, go to heavyhockey.com. Kirk's been writing some articles. His kind of your specialties more in the goalie side, right, Kirk? And he's been doing a couple articles there, so check him out. You can do a search by author. He does some great stuff. And then there's Dash. I mean, I don't know. He just kind of hangs around. And once in a while, I get him on the show. Happy to have you, Dash, as usual. Yeah, I just like to peek in your window. That's right. That's right. This is the webcam to my window right here. I had a look. I think I've been on 16 of your last 45 podcasts. Oh, man. Hey. Yeah. Oh, geez, that's no good. They can't hear you either, actually. Sorry, everybody. I had everybody on mute but me, which is exactly. You know what? I have been accused of being the only one talking on occasion, and now I know why. I swear everybody else was talking, but I felt
the man keeping us down.
Yeah,
the man.
You know, and Kirk, you said probably.
Well, you might as well say hi to Kirk again.
Yeah,
let's start over.
Everybody heard my hi, and now Kirk, you can say hello. You said some of your most brilliant stuff back there when they were on mute.
Oh yeah, it was groundbreaking. I got to tell you,
groundbreaking.
Yeah,
it's a good thing. It's a good thing Dash has guys on the outside watching.
I've got people on the inside. I've got people on the outside. You guys, do you know that I know lasagna?
Yeah, I know.
And Garfield. I know them both.
Hey,
the insider. But yeah, thanks for introducing us again. And,
yeah. Well, I don't need to introduce you again
here.
Because I introduced you. But it's the fact that whatever you guys said, nobody else heard.
There you go.
Really,
well, I was saying that
I'll be honest, they don't come for you guys. So.
Well, but yet you've invited me on 15 of your last 45 podcasts.
I know. It's good.
Clearly somebody drives ratings. Anyways, that said, thanks.
Somebody behind that virtual background that you're pointing at there.
Yeah. I appreciate you letting me look in your windows and stalk you and continually invite myself onto the show. it's fun. You do like to keep us down and suppress us a little bit. In fact, I'm not even
That's
sure
right.
what kind of control you think you have over this network, bud.
I am.
The inmates are running the asylum, if you will. I
You
think.
can say. You can. Everybody knows I'm an asshole already. We
In
figured that
fact,
one
I
out.
don't know if you know this, but you've probably never heard of him, Josh from Tough Guy Podcast or something like that.
Soft call is what we're calling
Well,
it now.
I don't know, whatever.
Might as
I
well
know
call
you've
it
never-
soft call pod.
I know you've never heard of him or watched.
Does this
the show.
podcast suck?
Oh
Yeah,
it's awful.
it's whatever. He's a tough guy. But yeah, we were supposed to do that Anaheim post game together, and I started chirping him about watching Steel Magnolias reruns and not watching the actual game and not knowing anything about the game. And that son of a bitch punched me, Michael. He told me that I embarrassed him, and that if I was going to be part of a hockey network called Heavy Hockey, that I better be prepared to punched in the face.
Oh, dude, you really got a
skilling it
black
up.
eye.
That's a beauty.
I got
is.
skilled up. Yeah,
You
yeah.
got
Thanks,
skilled
Josh.
up.
Yeah, go watch Steel Magnolias, buddy.
Is that shit real, dude? That's a real black eye.
Ask Josh. Is this a good time to ask for HR? Does Heavy Hockey have HR
We
department?
got HR. All right.
Is that
got
real? What
HR.
are you, his fucking lawyer?
Yeah. You know what? You went in swinging. What else did you expect?
Okay, got what I deserved. I was skilling it up.
That's
I
right,
chirped him.
skilling it up, and you got everything you deserve. Well, hey guys, we're here to talk some hockey, and for those of you tuning in, if you haven't seen already, the Oilers signed a guy by the name of Noah Philp today. He is a standout with the U of A Golden Bears, who I had a chance to see live on Sunday in Wolfville, Nova Scotia, playing for the U Cup gold medal game. And
70 shots the boys got, eh?
Oh man, they were peppering. Actually, the kid that was playing for UQTR, say that all in one breath. He's a former Halifax Moosehead. His name's Gravel, and he's a good kid. So he had a bit of a following there at the game, being in Nova Scotia and all. But he played outstanding. Golden Bears just. They couldn't put enough pucks behind them. And, early on in the game, I thought it was going to be a blowout. I mean, they walked into the gold medal game beating St. FX 7-2. So, pretty big. Or was Ryerson play? Yeah, they beat St. FX. Ryerson played UQTR in the game. Or no. You know what? I don't know. A guy should take notes for his show.
Tune in here for your CIS news.
That's
week
right.
After week.
Yeah, a guy should really should become a little bit more prepared for this shit. Who's running this shit anyway?
I've been asking that question since I got hired.
Yeah, Kirk.
Don't ask the new guy. Don't ask
Don't
the new
ask
guy.
the new guy.
Hey, the new guy got a promotion to podcasting from writing.
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
Yes,
Kirk,
sir.
give us your thoughts. We're going into a pretty important game tonight. Obviously, I like this game. To me, has some pretty good, like ramifications in terms of the placement in the Pacific. Obviously, now that LA lost to Calgary last night, a win tonight puts us in second place with still a game in hand. And
Yeah.
I know there's still lots of hockey to be played, but as you know, as I know, as Dash knows, it's what's in your head, right? Like if you feel like you're sitting in second, and that's what you want to stick with, right? Like so, this is and LA knows that they've lost second. If you take advantage tonight, this is probably our third. What is it? Our third or our fourth chance at this right now?
It's got to be close to fourth by now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 or 5, man.
Pretty good cracks at her.
So, I mean, what does this mean to the team?
Well,
A nice advantage.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
And,
I mean, from a confidence standpoint, right? Like this is like I said, they've tried 4 times to take over second spot now.
well, and it's a buddy of mine who's a huge Kings fan there. He told me there today that the Kings are terrible at home. So it's pretty important for the Oil to get second place, because then they got the upper hand. But once you get to the dance, anything goes, as we all know, right? So I'd follow Woodcraft's philosophy, man. Just take it one one game at a time and one shift at a time, and one goal at a time, and just keep going. Like his positivity is damn awesome as far as I'm concerned. He's brought in a different philosophy, and you could tell by his his press conferences and his media avails, and so that'd be my summary right there, is just take it one game at a time, and I know every game counts from here on in, right? So bank all the points you can and go from there. And with it sounds like Koskinen is in for tonight, so I think the boys will be pumped, honestly. So, and it's San Jose, so, and I heard Reimer's on the other side, so if he's leaky, take the over if you're betting. So
yeah, and I think if you're keeping track of the scoring race, I think Draisaitl. If you're keeping track of the scoring race, if you're not keeping track of the scoring race, turn this shit off right now, because we don't need you tuning in.
No, we need you. We need everybody.
Yeah,
tune back in, please.
Shit, did I just say that? Yeah. I mean, Matthews is sitting at 54, so Draisaitl has a bit of ground to make up, which he was back 3 or 4 not that long ago, and then the hat trick kind of brought him back up. So he's got the tools to do it, as we know, in oil country. So that's a big deal. What are your thoughts, Dash?
I think it's huge, man. I think not only is it the psychological thing that you were leading us to there for an answer, but there's obviously going to be, when you can't hang on to that spot and then you finally get it and you get it right at the right time. I think that's the momentum you need. You're peaking at the right time. Statistically, bro, what do we got? 2 points in the last 5 games on the road, but yet we got 9 straight La Bombas at home. So, that's a huge tell to me. I think if we're going to go 3 centers down the middle and keep the depth with, 3 strong lines, we're going to need the matchups. So having that home ice advantage allows us to be able to match lines with whoever we need to and keep Matthew Deneau away from Connor McDavid. I'm a season ticket holder. It means 4 games at home instead of 3 for the series if it goes that far. So it's huge, man.
Oh, it is huge. Last night I put out a tweet. I said there's, at first
I wouldn't know I'm banned from Twitter.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, now's the time to trash Dash on Twitter. He's in Twitter jail right now. But I put out this tweet last night because I was watching the Calgary-Los Angeles game thinking I really want Calgary to win, because then Edmonton can take over second place. And try as I might, 10 seconds into the game, I'm like, screw this shit. I cannot, I can't cheer for Calgary. I'd probably have a hard time cheering for them if it meant a playoff spot for us. It is just too damn hard. And so I thought, look, I'm going to cheer for LA, and I'll let Edmonton kind of do their own work, right? We've got tonight's a big night, and then we play LA on Thursday. So, Edmonton can write their own ticket right now. The only reason that you'd want to see LA beat Calgary last night, though, if you're not worried about that second, third place, is, you got a chance then, maybe, just maybe, you got an outside chance at taking the divisional lead. But hey, here's the thing: is there's a lot of talk about that on the comments back and forth.
I'll take LA over Nashville any day.
Yeah, or potentially a healthy Vegas, right? Yeah. I mean, Vegas has a shot at that spot. They're tied with Nashville right now for the first wild card spot.
If Liner stays healthy.
I mean, how? What do you think about that? I mean, Calgary, Vegas, first round. That's a big team out, right? Calgary, even Colorado, Vegas out. That makes a nice kind of trip. I mean, sitting in that second, third spot doesn't look so bad right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right, Dash. Who wants to play Nashville? I mean, they're nothing to scoff at. I mean, this is, I said it a week or so ago, the Western Conference is not as easy as Eastern media would like you to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you listen to Sirius XM on NHL, or you listen to, TSN, the Eastern media there, they all talk about how incredibly tough the Eastern Conference is. Are they coming into the West, though, and mopping up the floor? Did they?
Nope.
Did they come through Edmonton and Calgary and mop up the floor with Edmonton and Calgary? Because if they did, I missed it. I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm wrong.
I think
Actually,
you're not allowed. I know.
Not allowed to tell me if I'm wrong. But.
No, you're right, Michael.
Thank
100%.
you. There you go. All right, what, Kirk? I mean, what do you think the Oilers need to do tonight to win? You got Koskinen in net. Draisaitl's thankfully coming back.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, I mean, what is any sort of keys to the game that you see for tonight?
If they play the same way like they did in Anaheim tonight, it'll 2 points in the bank. Like the one thing I noticed there in Anaheim the most was, especially in their own end, getting in the shooting lanes, clearing a path there for Smith for the most part. I thought, and this shocked me the most, was Kulak and Perry was +9 that night. And the analytics were just off the charts for Kulak. So I think more of the same. Just follow that same formula of and of course, when it comes to Koskinen in there, he alluded to a couple weeks ago during the presser, he said, the guys are giving me more time and space to set up. And as a goaltender, that's the main thing. If you can square to the shooter, more times than none, you're going to stop the shots.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what they've been trying to do, even with Smith, like just give him time to set up. So I think the defensive plays in their own end, and then the offensive side just speaks for itself. Like that first line is killer. Kane's been rock solid, a great addition. And same with Puljujarvi. Like he's on the defensive side, man, he's been gold there too. Like even with the apples, let alone that goal, that was a beauty there where he just strung Gibson out on wire.
We could do like 3 hours of podcasting on Jesse Puljujarvi alone, right? Couldn't you? I mean, there's like, and honestly, everybody that you had on that show would give you a different story, and 25% of them would hate the guy, right?
Lock him up for 8, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you what, this kid, like, he just keeps the puck in his zone. He does all the right things.
Dude, he keeps getting better and better and better. If we bridge him, we're going to be paying him 9.5.
You never know if you just looked at point totals, right? Like you never know if you just look at the score sheet, right? You got to dive into and you got to watch this kid play, and I mean, the three of us, we watch every game. But
when Steel Magnolia is not on,
for those that it's so true. Yeah.
Can I touch on that deep pairing as well? I thought that was something that is going to be incredibly important as well. When I looked at kind of my keys to the game before we came on tonight. Oh wait, I got breaking news here. Oh, look at this, Oilers Live breaking news. Wow. Brett Kulak is Nick Lidstrom. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Man, Kulak was awesome. Like he was unbelievable. I thought he looked like, I think on the Cult of Hockey, they called him like a Bowmeister light. And I didn't realize until these last few games how well he can skate. He was known to be able to close gaps and make those decisions and be able to really thwart that offense when it's coming on full rush. I see it now. Yeah, that was great. And Barry, by the way, +4. Just for the hell of it, I had to go back and look to see when the last time Tyson Barrie was +4. How's this? April 2nd, 2019, against the Oilers, Colorado Avalanche wins 6-2. Tyson Barrie's +5.
That's insane, man.
Oh, man. Yeah.
4 years since he's been.
I mean,
+4 and it
but
was against the Oilers.
were you surprised by that? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you were.
Yes,
surprised.
I was.
You
Was
were
I surprised that Barry was +5?
Okay,
and
no,
Kulak, or
that's what
4
I
and
mean.
Kulak
That's
was
what I mean,
+5?
though. Like,
Yeah, I
were
was
you
shocked.
surprised it's been that long?
The only thing more surprising would have been if it was Duncan Keith.
Yeah. Do we have confirmation yet on the lines for tonight? I haven't been able
I can
to.
have a look.
I
Oh no, I
haven't been
can't.
able to
I'm kicked
find
off
any.
Twitter.
You got to get a burner. Everybody's got a burner, Dash. Come on,
All right,
rookie.
let's do it.
Rookie. Get a burner. Kirk, any confirmation on the lines? We know Koskinen's in net. I mean, all I heard was Draisaitl's in, and
Probably gonna be the same
Kane
as
is in,
Anaheim, I would assume.
But the concern that I have is I haven't seen confirmation of the lines, and there were just about everybody was off for a maintenance day, and so you never know, right? What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, but both Draisaitl and Puljujarvi Kane took the morning skate, so I think they're both ready to play. And I mean, Woodcroft didn't change his lines one iota in Anaheim.
Yeah, and that
those 4 lines played together. You look at natural stat trick combinations. There was 4 combinations of lines. The 4 lines we had. That's it. So why do you go away from that? In my opinion,
he's been great that way, right? Like I'll give him. Maybe I'm giving him a bit too much credit. He hasn't had any challenges with those lines yet, so he hasn't had any reason to. Once Puljujarvi started to it took him a game or so to get back into the groove, but when he did, I mean, he makes the most sense on that top line.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that third line there with Nuge, Broussard, and I think it was Fogler, or was it Ryan? I can't remember.
Cassian.
Or Cassian.
It was Cassian that game. Yeah.
That's actually the only line that's disappointing to me, and it's only because of Cassian. And I find that the play dies on his stick.
Yep.
All the freaking time, and it's just, this is you're talking about Bouwmeester light. Cassian is Lucic light, like when he played on our team, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like he's and
sure I do.
And legit Lucic light, like, he doesn't give you the hits that Lucic gives you. He's, like, man, it's driving me nuts.
How many times have we talked about Cassian bringing down any line he's on, unless he's on a top line, which is crazy because he doesn't belong on a top line. He doesn't have good defensive positioning. He's not good on the defensive side of the puck. To your point, or to Kirk's point, the 3 lines all had over 55% Corsi. They were all plus on the relative Corsi. That line that you just brought up, Kirk, was -12.9, -12.6 on relative Corsi. Like, they were not good. And when you go and look at Zach Cassian's game in particular, he was -9 relative Corsi. Like, the puck was going the other way every single time he was on the ice.
Yeah, pretty brutal stuff there. And I actually didn't mind Puljujarvi on the third line, and it gave him another dynamic there. And I thought Broussard kind of took the bull by the horns there the first couple of games there, and ever since then,
But I think the problem is Broussard's getting looked at unfavorably because he's playing on Cassian's line, right? Like, I think Broussard isn't, he's not being put in a place where he can be successful. Neither is Nuge.
Broussard and Ryan were very good.
Yeah.
Before Ryan got scratched.
Yeah, and I'll never understand that one either. I mean, this to me stinks of contract, right? Like, this is where you're playing a guy in a position based on contract. Right. And that's what makes me think of the Lucic thing, right? Like, he was always put in a position, and again, I mean, this, Woodcroft's going to take certain things from McClellan, right? And that was a McClellan thing. And I get it. The Oilers maybe aren't playing big enough. If I had one complaint about them, they're not playing big enough. Like, you watch that LA Calgary game last night. That was a heavy game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the Oilers don't play that style of game, nor do I think I really want to see Connor McDavid playing that style of game. But having said that, maybe that's why he's playing Cassian up in the lineup. I don't know. Or maybe he's just hoping maybe to give him a spark now before, while the team's playing well. I just can't. That's the one thing I can't figure out. You guys got an
Laughing because both Kirk and I's eyes went like this at the same time. Panthers tied it up 5-5.
Oh, did
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
That game's nuts.
Yeah, it was 6-1.
Freaking Toronto.
Right? Wasn't it? Or
5-1.
5-1.
Yeah.
5-1.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 5-1, and then somebody
They
had a
clawed back.
power play or a
Yeah.
breakaway.
Yeah.
And that's when I turned it off to get ready for the
For the pod.
for the
I wouldn't be
pod.
upset if the season ended today. I'd love to see the Leafs and the Bruins in the first round again.
Oh, man.
Thank you for understanding, Kirk. Like there's
We
just
all-
I would get so
Oh,
much joy. In
Speak
them
of James
falling out in the
Reimer.
first round again.
Yeah.
Oh God, 18 wheeler going off the cliff, right? So yeah. Fuck.
Optimus Rhyme. Yeah. 18 wheeler. All right.
All right, you guys. I mean, we're talking about Toronto. Brings up another point, and this is MVP. And I've been thinking a lot about this because every year we complain about Connor McDavid not getting the props that he deserves. I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to be hated for putting it out there. But if it was my vote, and I wasn't an Oilers fan, I'd be voting Shesterkin. And I'll tell you why, and this is actually a pro for the Oilers. For one of the first years in a long time, I feel like this team could actually compete in a game without Connor McDavid in the lineup. Not that they would not that they're a much better team without him in the with him in the lineup. You get what I'm saying? But this is maybe one of those years where there's enough depth on the team that they could get by for a few games without him. This is not these are not the Oilers of a few years ago where when McDavid went down, everybody said, well, there goes the Oilers, right? These guys can still play. And you got Draisaitl, right, who is equally as important to this team. In fact, when we saw that he might be hurt and they panned over to him every single commercial break, which I'll say right now annoyed the hell out of me. But when they did that, I mean, everybody in oil country is sitting there with a big sigh, like, we don't want to lose Draisaitl. He's just as important. And so if you look at a guy on a team that's most valuable to his team, in my mind, it's got to be Shesterkin. And I only bring that up because there's no way I'd be voting for Matthews. And here's the other reason, because I know there's Leafs fans that'll get on me for this. When Matthews is out of the lineup, the Leafs have a better record. So you're gonna, you know what? Don't get me wrong. Matthews is an elite goal scorer, 100% elite. He'll make 60 goals this year, and you don't do that because you're overrated. If you say that, you're just out to lunch or you're jealous. Right? The guy is outstanding. But when he's out of lineup, you can't discount the fact that the Maple Leafs do better than when he's in the lineup. So is he the most valuable player to the team? There's no way. Shesterkin, 100%. That's my.
And it's absolutely just gut-wrenching, disgusting how much the Toronto media pumps his tires.
Oh,
Just constantly, just bam, bam, bam. Just like, oh, Matthews is the greatest. And same with the fans.
they're already doing documentaries on him.
Yeah.
They're literally doing, he hit 50 goals for the first time in his career. Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not the guy who's going to tell you he's not an elite goal scorer. He will be a Hall of Famer. You can mark my words, unless if he gets injured or something like that. He will be a Hall of Famer. And he's not overrated. He's a good goal scorer. Would I have him on my team? Hell yeah. Is he the most valuable player to the Leafs organization? Not a chance. Is Connor McDavid the most valuable player? Comparatively to other players in the league, right? Is Connor McDavid the most valuable to the Oilers? Maybe there's a thing there. But Shesterkin, 100%, I don't think the Rangers are where they are today without Shesterkin.
Yeah, goalies probably don't win the Hart Trophy enough, right? What was it? Pat Burns said that goaltending is 75% of hockey. Unless you don't have one, then it's 100% of hockey. And I think Michael's quoted somebody at some point in time that said the game should just be called goalie. Yep. Because it's so important, right? So there's only apparently so many Theodores that are going to get our Hart Trophy, in our generation. And if anybody deserves it this year, it's hard to argue with you there, Michael. I think Shesterkin has really given that, that topic new life because, it's been so long since that's happened. But goaltending is the most important thing to any team. So quite literally, I think going that route, you could pick a goalie every year for the Hart Trophy, Michael. So, maybe they rename the trophy or whatever you want, but odds came out yesterday. Austin Matthews is plus 175, Connor's plus 200, Shesterkin's plus 500, and Gaudreau and Huberdeau are plus 1,000. And the surprising thing on there is that I don't see a Draisaitl and I don't see a Roman Josi. And I think Roman Josi's been one of the most valuable players in the league this year. Guys 100%. Don't get 90 points on the defense very often, let alone on a team like that that's struggling. So I'd almost lean that way. And, how do you put Connor McDavid second in the odds when I'm telling you, he is the best player in the NHL, but the Hart Trophy is for the most valuable player. And I would argue Connor McDavid isn't the most valuable player on the Oilers.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what I mean, right? Like this is, I just, in my mind, Austin Matthews is 4th, 5th on the list. If he's on the list.
Is this a Draisaitl shun again?
Yeah. I don't know. I look, I get Draisaitl, is still, people do still talk about him in that conversation, but the problem is, who talks about Malkin when Crosby's on his game, right?
Yeah.
It's just you can't give the Hart Trophy to two players on the same team, and in some way having Draisaitl and McDavid on the same team takes away from both of them, right?
Yeah.
Like if Draisaitl's not on this team, there's no doubt in my mind that McDavid runs away with the Hart every year.
Right. And I think that's almost going to work against McDavid or Draisaitl in this vote every time because they've got each other, whereas the Shesterkins and the Josis and whoever else, they're doing it on their own, if you will. Since we're on the topic, can I hijack a little bit, Mike? I want to ask you guys a question.
I'm just waiting. Can I?
What
am I going to say here?
It took me 20 minutes to get this far before I did it, right?
I'm just looking for the mute button. Hold on one second.
Yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
You're on.
You've already proved to us that you don't know how to use it properly, so go ahead.
You're on.
You guys, you think Michael said it, Matthews is probably going to get 60 this year. I'd agree. Is Draisaitl going to get to 60, boys?
Might
10 and 12.
Depends. That's the same thing with Connor there with 50.
Yeah,
right?
That was my second question. Exactly. Yeah, 10 and 12 for Connor to get 50. So what do you guys think?
Who do you think gets there first?
I think Dry gets to 60 before McDavid gets to 50. What do you guys think?
I was going to say the other way. I would love to see Draisaitl get to 60. I think Draisaitl, he was fighting something, I think, midway through the season. And, if the other night something was bugging him and he's needing the maintenance day, he could be playing the rest of the year at 80%. 80% Draisaitl's like 60% better than most players. But I think he'll have a tough time getting to 60.
That math checks out.
Yeah, the math is good. And McDavid, man, the guy's on a tear right now. And
I think the team will get behind Draisaitl wanting to win the Rocket. That's where I come from. I think that in that dressing room, they probably all believe Connor's going to win the Hart, and if not, he'll win the Pearson. So let's get Dry the Rocket. I think that's where they're going to go. Which I think he'll shoot the empty netter instead of deferring.
Hey, they wanted to get him a goal the other night, and they did. Yeah, you know what amazes me about that is that, when teams are like that and they want to get a guy a goal, they always seem to manage to do it. But why can't they do it when they just need one goal? Right? Why not just pick a guy and say, hey, we're going to get you a goal tonight. Yeah. And then that's the way you get your goal. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, sorry, Kirk, your answer to that. Who do you think's getting it first? 50, McDavid?
Honestly, it's a coin toss for me. They're both awesome. I would say 2-1 it'd be Dry because he seems to score in bunches.
Yeah.
So, and when he's feeling it, you got to give it to Dry, I guess. But who knows? Like Connor, when he's feeling it too, he could be otherworldly. So, coin toss, man.
Connor got
Seriously.
50 points in his last 25 games last season. I mean,
Connor is feeling it right now. I'll tell you.
and
that.
he is fire right now. So yeah, that's an interesting debate. That's why I wanted to. You stole my follow-up question, Kirk. So you're telepathic there, but yeah, it's exactly what I was going to say. Who has the better chance? So
yeah, Connor is he is unbelievable. And you know what's nice is for the first time in his career with the Oilers, when he's not playing with Draisaitl, he has a couple of capable wingers with Puljujarvi and Kane. Like we could, I think down the stretch, expect to see a couple 4 or 5 point nights from McDavid. A couple. Like not just one, but a couple. I mean, he is going to finish. I mean, I don't want.
he's going to get Kane a $9 million contract. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's getting Kane out of Edmonton. That's what he's doing.
I was going to ask you guys that. Like, would Connor convince him to stay? Did take a hometown discount, or do you think he's just going to say, "Screw you guys, I want the paycheck"?
Kane's not taking a hometown discount. He's got no loyalty like that. I just can't see.
No.
I think he needs the money is the problem. He might have the loyalty, but he needs the money, I think. And honestly, it's a choice between, I think if it's put that way, fine. But then Kate Connor, who do you want to keep? Yamo, JP, or Kane? Pick two of the three.
Yeah.
So if you want Kane, you got to say goodbye to one of those other two. And those are very loved guys in the dressing room. Very loved guys. Everybody wants Yamo on their line, and JP's becoming that guy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say, like, you can do 3-4 hours on JP. He just plays a game that he's the guy that doesn't get the credit he deserves, right? Because he's not showing up on the score sheet. He's the guy that's just done enough of the work to make sure the puck stays in front of the net and somebody else pots it in, right? You know, I watch him play, and I still, you know, I can't figure it out all the time. Like, somehow he gets his stick on that puck, and he seems to do it like I'm not making a comparison, but Lemieux was a player, Mario Lemieux, that
So
never
rangy.
looked...
Yager.
Yeah, rangy. Never looked like he was skating very hard. You know,
Yager.
Yeah, same type of thing. And that's Puljujarvi's game. And so it's hard to really tell until you look at the stats, and you also realize that, hey, I've been watching JP play out there tonight, and they've never left the offensive zone, right? And he just does the right things. I love that.
Yeah, he can have zeros across the score sheet, but then if you go and look deep, it's, you know, he had 5 takeaways and, you know, on 2 occasions kept a play going that allowed them to cycle their lines and keep a cycle going against a tired defense. Like, all those things are important. They don't show up on stat sheets.
No.
Just the defensive side of his game, like
him,
Ryan McLeod, and now I'm forgetting the third there I had on my mind there when I was thinking about here today, but the defensive side guys, like you can't deny that. And like as Dash just said, you know, it doesn't show up on a score sheet, but
Hyman, probably you were thinking.
No,
or Nuge.
Hey, we haven't even talked about Hyman yet.
I mean,
Nuge McLeod,
Nuge, McLeod, and JP all make a team, or all make a line defensively better immediately.
Yeah,
I think that's what Kirk's trying to get at before I rudely interrupted.
Yeah, no, just and then to see that, you know, like and everybody's just like, well, you know, everybody, you know, before Holland said, you know, just kind of, you know, paced it out and didn't want to rush to any harsh judgments there and make a knee-jerk trade there. I was part of that group to say get rid of him, and I'm eating crow now for sure, because after seeing all that, you know, it's really good. And he like you guys said, he's well loved in the dressing room. You know, he's always positive. You know, he's a kid at heart. So yeah, it'd be a tough pill to swallow to see him go. That's for sure.
You guys surprised to see that Brassard has been playing wing and McLeod stayed in the third hole? I really thought that transaction was going to be for Brassard to fill that third hole and have the veteran third line center, but McLeod's out playing him.
McLeod's been a revelation this year. Like, he is,
especially, and got even better under Woodcroft. Like,
absolutely, and nobody's surprised by that, and like the fact that he's got better under Woodcroft. But I'm surprised at just how good he is, how he's playing, how mature he's playing.
Yeah.
Right. Like
That's speed, man. The speed kills.
The speed, the maturity, like the
said it.
responsibility in his game is next to none right now. Like that's the thing I notice about him is he's, a lot of times you got a young guy with that kind of speed, and they're giving the puck away at the blue line, right? And they're just making stupid plays. But before he gives the puck away at the blue line, he'll throw it in deep, right? Like that's the kind of responsibility he plays, right? Like he doesn't give up a lot of chances going the other way. And he's doing this playing what, 12 minutes a game, maybe 10 minutes sometimes.
About 10, yeah.
That's freaking hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to do night after night and be on your game like he is. I just love that. Okay, Dash, everybody's asking about the Shiner. Talk about it. What's going on? And
Josh Bolton punched me in the face for making fun of Steel Magnolias. What else? What the story doesn't check out? Tough guy podcast. I'm telling you, you can't skill it up around a place called heavy hockey. You can't. You get punched right in the face when you embarrass.
Your podcast sucks, Josh. That's what happened, right?
Yeah. You've made it.
That.
You've made it when people. Yeah, Dash is still waiting for somebody to say you suck.
Next time, maybe punch me from the front instead of suckering me, Josh. But whatever. That's
full Taylor Hall. Yeah,
you do you.
Full Taylor Hall. There we go. We got about 15 minutes left. Just want to put a little shout out while everybody's listening here. We've been doing the heavy hockey post game lately after every game. Dash is up this upcoming week to do post game on Saturday, Colorado game. Do post game then. I'm doing the post game for tonight, and the heavy hockey post game is just going to be a 5 to 10 minute recap of the game with 5 to 10 minute sort of pregame for the upcoming one. And so far we've done 3 or 4 of them, but we're going to keep them going, and they've been a lot of fun. And then you'll see probably a lot more opinion stuff on YouTube Heavy Hockey here right away. So make sure you check that out and subscribe if you're not already subscribed already. It's been a pretty good run of some good material from some of these guys. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them, some good material.
Guy gets punched in the face and it looks painful. You should try doing a podcast with Dursa. You want to feel real pain.
Why do you think I have my own show? All right, Kirk. You know what? You're the man right now. This is your first stop on the Oilers Live tour right now. Give us something. Like, give us a topic here. Like, what do you want to talk about? I'm putting you on the spot right now, but man, I'm just dying to hear from you.
I'm just stoked that they signed Ryan Fanti because he was on my list.
Philp.
Well, that too. Yeah. But I'm like I said.
I love Orange Fanta.
That's right.
Yeah. No, he was. I kind of kept a watchful eye on the college free agents there, and there was a few goalie free agents there, and surprisingly enough, he was on my list. I was on my wish list there for to get signed, and it blew me away. I'm like, holy crap! Like Ken Holland did a solid W and signed the kid. So, are
they still playing? By the way, where's he there? Because they just had the Frozen Four, right?
It's coming up this weekend actually, but his team there, University of Minnesota Duluth, got knocked out. That's why he signed. He had that option to sign or go back to school, and he decided to go pro. And like he's got a lot of raw talent, man. Like he reminds me a lot of Jonathan Quick, like just aggressive there in the net,
nice.
But also very, very smooth in transition, like with edge work, and he's only going to get better as far as I'm concerned. Like, so that's the one signing that blew me away. Like, I was just like, holy crap, like just insane. So, but, as far as the goalie situation goes, going into next year, it's going to be interesting to say the least. Cause, I don't know if they're going to keep Smith here going into the off season, or if they're going to ride it out with his contract. Or I hope Skinner gets a fair shot there next year too. So, and it's
I
interesting
think
with their
Smitty's
prospects.
untradeable at this point.
Yeah, and
He can maybe find a Marion Hossa skin disease that makes his equipment too itchy and hop on the LTIR for the final year. But other than that,
his last game was the best game he's played though in a long time against Anaheim.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think we should take into the playoffs? Do you think it should be Smith starting, Koskinen starting, or just ride a duel?
Oh, you can't start Smith. Like, you just can't. Like, unless if something's wrong with Koskinen.
So it's Mikko until he loses, or it's Mikko all the way? You can't ride Mikko in 7-game series, Michael.
I think you have to do win and you're in, right? You start. I think playoffs are that. It's a whole new ball game, and maybe having Smith play a couple extra games down the stretch to have him Koskinen rested up, but he's got you here, right? Like, he's, whether we love him or not, he's played good enough that the Oilers have won some games, right, while he's in net. And, you can't deny that. The only thing stupider would be to pull a Tippett and start the wrong goalie, right? Right? And weird how this one's working out, right? I mean, this is... if there was a time where I would be yelling at Woodcroft, it would be if he started Smith going into the playoffs. And then I think you got to go win and you're in. Like, if you win a game, you're in. If you're or the alternative is if you weren't the reason for the loss, you can stay in, right? Like, if Koskinen's just playing solid, you play him until you can't play him anymore.
You think they hit the panic button there if something goes sideways in the playoffs and they do bring in Skinner?
Jeez, that'd be something, eh?
The thing is that the playoffs happen so quick, right? In that instance, like, you don't know when's the panic button, right? Like,
I think if a goalie gets hurt, then Skinner's in right away, and then all it takes is, what happens. Let's throw a hypothetical out there. Smith tweaks a groin or an ankle in his first few games. Koski's got a ride. Skinner's on the bench, and he comes in to save when Koski gets pulled, and he, keeps him scoreless for the rest of the. I'm really interested, Michael. Keeps him scoreless for the rest of the game. Well, maybe you start Skinner. Well, then what if he gets a shutout? Right? Like, then you got a Cam Ward on your hands, or you've got a Jordan Binnington on your hands, or go back to the Patrick Waugh days. But man, I'd love to see that, Kirk. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Then we know what we have next year in Skin anyways, right?
Oh, for sure, man. For sure.
Well, we know. Well, yeah. I mean, do we? I mean, we've all seen guys go into the playoffs and play like they're, somebody new, and then we get some signing, and they just don't, the Oilers are in this situation we're in because guys have had good playoffs, right? Like, it was just it was the start of a bad cycle.
Ryan McLeod will get 10 points in 8 games, and they'll give him 6x6.
Exactly, right? Like that.
Pisani all over again.
It just it is unbelievable what happens in the playoffs. And look at Binnington the other night, right? Like, we're chasing him after 6 shots and 4 goals. I don't know.
That's a total confidence problem with him. Like, he's got the
confidence
case of the
in the playoffs, right? You get the confidence in the playoffs. You play really well, and then that's what's expected of you. But you can't. The playoffs are a whole different season, right? Like, it's not. Some guys do well in the playoffs. Some guys do shit in regular season. It's just a known fact, and the certain teams do well in the playoffs and do shit in the regular season. Let's hope the Oilers are one of them. But Skinner. The good thing about that is, Skinner's still got one year left on his entry level, or is it?
Still 1 year waivers exempt.
Yeah,
still.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if hypothetically he were to come in and play lights out and do a Binnington, which is a lot to ask of a kid, that's only played half a season. But if that happened, at least we know that we'd have another year to. He definitely though he'd get the if he came in and played well in the playoffs, that he'd get the start next year or get a good look. He's going to get a good look anyway, right? Isn't he?
Sir.
Yeah. I mean, weren't we all excited when we heard Skinner got called up, like in Anaheim? I mean, Oilers Twitter was a buzz, right?
Other than the reason being Mikko being sick, but sure.
Yeah. I mean, Oilers Twitter was pretty. They thought, "Whoa, what happened here? This is the best thing I've heard all day."
Finally.
I mean, that. And then he didn't. Now he's back down. But how do you think Mikko plays tonight? Kirk, you're the goalie guy.
I think he'll be okay once he gets settled in. It's that first 10 minutes really is the tell of the game, right? So I think he'll be fine, honestly. Like, the guys love him in the dressing room. Same thing, just like JP or Yamo. Like, they'll and if they're on their heels, they'll step it up. I think so, anyways. But Mikko usually shows up ready to go on most nights, except for like Calgary. Calgary, you're going to have games like that against Calgary, or you're going to have that against anyone for that matter. You're going to have a doozy, lay a goose egg every now and then. But I think he'll be fine. I wouldn't worry about him.
Yeah, I think he's been solid. The thing I notice about, and Kirk, maybe you can point this out, because you talk to guys. We've had ex-goalies on the pod before. We've had some other people, and they, the big flashy saves, most goalies will tell you are not really the saves they're proudest of.
It was when we had Joaquin Gage on the show, Michael.
Gage
He's the one who said he hated
heard
when somebody said that he did a big Ole save, because that meant that he was out of position to have to make that. He said his favorite saves were the ones that hit him right in the chest.
And you watched Smith a couple of nights ago. He made like 10 of those huge saves. And all I could think of every time he made one of those huge saves is, why the hell is he so far out of position that he's got to make that save? Whereas you watch, guys like the guy south of Edmonton, Markstrom, like, he doesn't make a lot of flashy saves. Once in a while he does, but he just, like, it always seems like the puck hits him. That's all to me about positioning.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like I said before, if you're square to the shooter, good luck. And it's usually, if you keep your game simple, you could see a puck like a beach ball. It's like those, what Dash said with those Ole saves, those hard tack 5-alarm grasps, like Marc-Andre Fleury, like flower style saves. Yeah. You got to reach across the crease I could attest to that, being a goalie at one point in my life. And those are not fun, because you're basically it's all or nothing at that point. And if you keep it simple, hey, anything can happen.
Defensemen keep the lane clear, and the goalie can square to the shooter and have a good look at a shot. He'll save it 99.9% of the time. I don't care who's shooting the puck.
We talked about Kulak and Barry. What did you think of the other?
Nick Lidstrom, sorry?
Yeah. What did you think about the other pairings?
Get it straight.
Dash.
Surprised you didn't want to talk about Duncan Keith.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Dash.
Duncan Keith. Everybody loves to push Dash's buttons. Yay.
Well, I mean, he's we've had a couple of games where, we've been all right. Thoughts on the other pairings? I mean, is Nurse doing well again? As of like a couple of games ago, half of Oil Country was asking, when are we going to trade him? And then, I didn't hear much the other night. What's your thoughts, Dash, on the defense? Outside of Kulak and Barry.
CC's settled down Nurse's game a little bit, I think, which has been, a welcomed addition, because we all know Nurse can get a little erratic at times when he can't decide whether he's going to jump up in the rush or stay back and try to be a stay-at-home defenseman. So I think the mobility CC has, like, our entire D core is probably one of the best skating defense cores in hockey. I think, with all the defensive blunders we may have from time to time, or, trying to fed off the odd man rushes, ultimately, I'm not sure any 6 guys skate better than Keith, Barry, Kulak, Nurse, and Cece. Like those guys can all wheel. So, we might lack in physicality, but where we do, I think we're picking up for it in speed and zone exits. And, even I'm sure here you hit record, Dursa. Here, I'll give you a minute. Okay. He's been okay lately. Okay. He's been okay, which is great for how much money he makes that he's okay.
Yeah, but let's not grade a guy on his salary at this point in the season, right? Like you got to
grade him on his play. They won 6-1 last game, and he was on the ice for contributing to 5 scoring chances for and 8 against, and he was contributed to 2 high danger scoring chances for and 4 against. So it's a great game again. He's minus 15.5 Corsi relative.
Yeah.
Great job, Keith. We won 6-1. What do you want me to say?
What about Bouchard though? Because he kind of does cover for Bouchard there at times. No.
Yeah, I think that and that's something that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, Kirk. You're right. I'll give you that. But yeah, I think ultimately, he's probably settled Nurse's game down a little bit as well, whether that's through chats in the dressing room or what have you. I hope that the intangibles we got him for are coming through. We'll never know because we're not in that dressing room.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. We won't know. We do know there's a couple guys that obviously like him, appreciate him. But I think that Kirk brings up a good point. And the reason I bring up we all can look, you're not the only one that hates the contract, hates the trade, hates a lot of things that we could have got with that money, but the reality
we won 6-1 and he had the worst relative Corsi on the fucking ice, Michael.
But Kirk has
it's all there.
Kirk's talking about it. Like you can talk about the whole reason why plus minus means shit is because you can't affect who's on the ice with you all the time, right? Like he's playing with arguably the worst defensive minded player on the team. Yeah.
He was like that last year in Chicago there with Boquist.
Yeah.
He was covering for his mistakes too. So.
And I watched the game the other night. I thought he did fine. I'm not talking that he's a $5 million defenseman because we know he's not. He's not worth the trade, what we gave up. He's not worth taking that salary on. Look, I get that 100%. Is he doing all right lately? Given the Bouchard pairing, now that I think he's had a couple games with them, I think he's done well. I think he's actually leveled off that and topped that off the CC piece. How well CC's been playing has really helped with our defense. Now, the part that drives me nuts, and it drives me nuts with all of them, is this might be the least consistent defense in the whole NHL right now. They can go out and have a game where they play, lights out. They do everything right. They've listened to Manson. They've done all that. But they'll take 10 minutes off and fall back into their old ways. And before you know it, look at the St. Louis game. Before you know it, 2 goals are sitting in the back of the net, and you don't know what happened, right? And this team loses its mind for some reason. And I think to me that's that's the Tippett, Tippett era, and something that the defense never used to get any help from the forwards either before. Now they're getting a little bit of help, and I think we're good that way. What do you got there?
Just looking at the comments, I like how Tough Guy Podcasts actually corrects me and that it wasn't Steel Magnolia.
No, that's when I started.
That's
when I started.
That makes it any better, buddy.
That's when I started laughing earlier, and you said you get back to me on it.
It wasn't Steel Magnolias; it was Golden Girls. Okay.
So anyway, that's kind of my feeling on it. I mean, you can get upset on the Keith trade and the amount of dollars and everything. But if you're playing the guy in the bottom 2 pairs, that's where he's supposed to play. You just don't normally pay a guy $5.5 for playing his level of play, right? It's the Lucic problem. Look at Lucic is thriving in Calgary, but he's they're not paying his full salary.
it still irks me that Holland couldn't convince Bowman
100%.
to retain salary.
That's
Just
a failure.
that's abhorrent, man.
It's a
No.
failure, right?
And they gave away Caleb Jones to boot and a draft pick.
And a draft pick that now we can't trade a second or a third at our trade deadline because it's frozen.
Yeah.
Dursa telling me that Keith is carrying his partner on YouTube is pretty relative, given how much I carry him in the podcast.
Jeez. Oh man.
Boom.
A lot of hey, boom. Mic drop. Mic drop. Or is it just the mute button? We'll see. All right. We're down to the bottom of the hour. We're about a half hour away from game time. Want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Again, tune in on youtube.ca/heavy hockey. Sometime after the game, every game will be the heavy hockey post game done by either myself, Dash, who's here, Mr. Tough Call, Josh, and then I don't know, some other guy. Dursa, that's who that other guy is.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Anyway, so we'll be doing a heavy hockey post game each night. And Dash, you're up Saturday. I'm up
Sweet.
tonight.
You should get Dursa to do one with Bob the goalie. They can go for 2.5 hours.
Kirk, we're gonna get you to do some post games in the future if you're feeling up for it.
Sure.
Awesome.
I hope so.
Awesome. I hope so too. Tell us what you're working on. Are you working on any story ideas or anything you got coming up?
I've been up to my eyeballs in work, so no, unfortunately not. Hopefully something this weekend with the signings here.
Yeah.
And
I'd love
like
to
I said,
hear your thoughts on Fanti and some of the Oilers prospects, NHL prospects, hockey prospects, goalie. Yeah. Dash, you got anything in the works going on?
Just looking in your windows and stalking you to try to get on Oilers Live whenever I can. That's all. That's it.
Every Tuesday
So
night.
I spend
tune
my
in.
free time.
Yeah. And Straight Off the Pipe is back on when?
Yeah, we're going to do one Saturday morning, actually, pregame before the Colorado entanglement, and see how that goes. We'll put out a podcast, probably chirp each other. Looks like Durst is going to be all over me about wearing makeup, it looks like. So you tune in for that.
Hey, I think it looks cute. All right. All right. Okay, last thing. Predictions on the game tonight. Dash?
Oof. I'd parlay the Oilers win with the over, and I'm going to go 6-2 Oilers.
Any storylines?
Kane gets his first Gordie Howe hat trick against his ex-team.
Nice. Yeah, that's actually a good one.
Not a Josh Bolton hat trick either. A Gordie Howe hat trick.
The Gordie Howe, not the Sweet Magnolias, as we call them. Sweet Magnolias. Kirk, predictions on tonight's game?
Koskinen gets a shutout, channeling Stuart Skinner's vibes, I guess, or energy there. Same. I'm going to go 6-0.
6-0. That's huge. Any story? Well, the storyline would be Koskinen shutout.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what I got. I think 6 is the magic number tonight. I think the Oilers are good for 6.
Everybody's feeling that.
Yeah.
6-6-6.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's not good. So I'm going to take 6. I'd be surprised if we get a shutout. I'll go with another 6-1 score, which is the over. And I'll take McDavid for 4 and Kane for 4 points.
Points or goals?
Points. Yeah, and Kane for 4 as well, sitting on his line tonight. And that's going to be the storyline because Kane's going to come in and show them he's happy to take their money. Although he's not taking it anymore. But that's my thoughts on the game. All right, Kirk. Here's the drill. You get the last word. I shut up. I'll put myself on mute this time. Nobody will be able to hear me. And when you're done, just you say goodnight and we turn it all off.
I just hope that the boys put put a good fourth effort there and get the 2 points and go to LA and get some more good points there. And thanks for having me on the podcast. Still kind of nervous here, even after the ending here, but appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thanks for inviting me into the heavy hockey family, and go Oilers.
Go Oilers.